Greetings out there and welcome to a video on Java FX. So this is more of a beginner learning Java FX mixed with SceneBuilder, and I'm going to start from scratch. So as you see, I have Eclipse, I have no project, but the first thing I need to do is install a plugin. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Help. If you're running Windows, it'll be, I believe it's Help as well. So I'm going to click on Help, install new software. I'm going to click Add. You don't have to put a name in here. I'm just going to copy paste in my URL that I have. So this is the URL right here. Download eclipse.org, EFX Eclipse, updates released 2.40 site, and hit OK. You're going to get these both options. So I'm going to choose both and click, usually click Next, select All. All right, what's going on here? Doesn't like it. Well, it appears that I already have it installed. I see right here, I'm trying to click Next. If this is the first time you install it, you click Next, Finish, accept it, and it will restart your Eclipse. Apparently I already have it installed, so I can bypass that. So I'm going to go up here and click a new project. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Other, and I'm going to come down here to Java FX, and I am going to find a project for Java FX. This guy right here. Click Next. Give it a name. I'll say my first SceneBuilder app, and I'm going to make sure I have 1.8 selected, and I'm going to hit Finish. Take a moment here. All right, so we have our project. So we're going to do a lot from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe out this entire package. I'm just going to delete it. So we don't need that. You'll see the options here. You have FX SDK. You have the GRE system library. Nothing that we really have to be concerned about right now. So and you also need to make sure you have SceneBuilder installed. If you don't have SceneBuilder installed, then you're going to have some problems. So it's not going to work what we're trying to accomplish here. So if you don't, I would go out to this. Let me actually find a link here. So let me pull up text. Oops, text edit. Do this link right here. This will take you to SceneBuilder. That's the link that you want. That'll take you where you need to go to. All right, so first things first. So we're going to set up a package name. This is important that you do your package. Make sure that your package spelling and the name of your files are in the same order, or lowercase. If you do uppercase, then make sure everything's the same. So I'm going to right click on source and do package. I'm going to call it simple, all lowercase, and hit finish. So that's my package, and that's where all my that is where all my files will be stored at under the package. So we're going to have a controller. We're going to have let's kind of set up our shell for now. So I'm going to right click new. I'm going to do class, and we're going to put all our classes in here that we have. So the class that I will have will be main.java. So I don't need to select the public static void, or, well, we can. So for now, so go ahead and choose this, and we will go ahead and hit finish. All right, I'm going to do a new class. This class right here is going to be my controller class. So it's going to be controller. It will not have a static class, so I could just click finish. And lastly, this one's going to be different. We're going to right click on simple. That's our package, new. We're going to come down to other, and we're going to go in under Java FX, and we're going to choose a new FXML document and click next. Give it a name. I'll call it the same thing. I'll call it simple. See, I have an underscore. You have these different panes here. I'm just going to do border pane for this one and click finish. All right, excellent. So we have these guys kind of set up for now. We will start with the controller first. We will not finish the coding just yet, but we'll start with it. So one thing that we're going to do is we're going to import our library that we need, Java fx.event.actionEvent. All right, so that's the library we're going to use. Hit enter there. Hopefully you can see this. Let's get a bigger font. All right, so I changed my font a little bit bigger so it looks a little bit better. All right, so we have this class, and right now we're not going to have anything in here yet. We'll get back to this. I'll hit yes for save. I'll go over to main and start getting my main stuff together. So for main, I have to put in all my libraries that I'm going to use. So some of these we could probably copy and paste. So I'll start off with import Java fx.application.application. Perfect. All right, so import Java fx.fxml.fxml loader. So this guy right here will be in charge of the document that we have over here, and it'll be communicating with SceneBuilder. All right, so now we'll do import Java fx.stage.stage. This is required for anything dealing with Java FX. You're going to have that library. We're going to import the Java fx.scene. This is the same thing. You always need a scene. This is going to be the parent library. We also need a scene, so we're going to import Java fx.scene. So you could always imagine that you're always going to have a scene in stage 100%, and you're always going to have the application. So this one, and this one right here are all common ones that you'll have in pretty much all the programs that you do. And then we already have a stage. So we have stage. Okay, this is good. I think this is good for now. All right, so I'm going to wipe this guy out because I'm not worried about him. Minimize this, minimize this, minimize this. It gives us some more real estate. So we have the static void, and right here we're going to type in launch args for arguments, and this right here is going to help get our code launched. It's going to communicate with this guy right here. So once this gets static, once this gets kicked off, it'll communicate with that. So right now it's read out. I'm not worried about that. We're going to set up a new let's see here. We have to change something here. So we have public class, and we need to make sure that this class extends and talks to this guy. So we need to do extends application. All right. So now we need to set up a starting position, which is this area code is in all of our anything that you do within Java FX is required. So we'll start off and give it an override. Alright, so we'll do public void start. You're going to call your class stage. I'm going to call it the primary stage. You can call it anything. As long as you have stage before that, you're fine. I'm going to set up a throws exception in case we have a problem. Alright, so now in here, a lot of this is going to be, I'll show you what's going to be the same. So the primary stage stuff, when we set the title of the scene to show, that'll all be normal. This one right here is going to be a little bit different because we want Eclipse to communicate with SceneBuilder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it my parent, which is communicating with this class right here. I'm going to say parent root. You could call it anything. I call it root fxml loader dot load. We're going to get the class, and then we're going to get the resource. So anytime you want to get the resource of information, we'll call it resource. So in this case, we're going to get that simple.fxml, and that's the document that we're using here, the one that's communicating with and that. So this guy right here is called simple because we call it simple. So whatever you call that, that's what you need. And we're saying that we're going to get that resource and communicate with Java and our SceneBuilder. All right, so the rest of these information will be pretty much the same across the board. So we'll have primary stage, set title. We will have say hello. What can I say? Hello TV. Yeah, sure. Hello TV. Perfect. Let's see here, and then we'll end that right there. You know what? This is going to be the title, so let's just call it my first application. All right, my first app. Perfect. All right, primary stage, set title. All right, so you notice how that is out like that? It has to be exactly like this. So when you hover over it, it gives me an option. So I'm going to change it to that. That works. It has to be spelled exactly. All right. Primary stage dot set scene. And then we'll call it a new scene. And we'll give it the root, because the root is, we've already set the FXML loader, comma, 300 times 275. So now we're getting the size of our screen. Now we're going to do primary stage dot show. So we're allowed to be shown. So this is all the code that we'll actually write in the main area right here. So this should be all set pretty good. I'll go ahead and save that. All right, excellent. So now let's make sure that we can get SceneBuilder installed. So make sure you have it set up right. So if I right click on Simple, XML, and do Open with SceneBuilder, you notice how it says right here, Open File with SceneBuilder failed. That's fine because we haven't set up a path for this. Now this is where it's going to be different. On the Apple, it's going to be pretty straightforward. You're going to go to Applications and link it. But if you're on a Mac or if you're on a Windows, this is where it's a little bit more complicated. You have to ensure that you do it properly. So you need to find out where the file is installed. It's going to be a .exe file. But remember, if you download it, the SceneBuilder, and if it's in your downloads, don't use that, because what it's going to do is that downloads is probably an install file. So every time you run it, you're going to be like, why is it trying to install it? You want to check your C program files and check the x86, or maybe just the program files, and find out where it's actually installed at. If you're unsure, if you have a shortcut, right click on a shortcut and go to properties. It will give you in a little window, it'll show you the link. You could copy and paste that. So since I'm using a Mac, I'm going to go up to Eclipse, Preferences, and then I'm going to find JavaFX on here somewhere. You could search for it, or I could just click on it. And see, it says SceneBuilder executable. If I click on Browse, I go to, mine will be Applications, and then I'll just find SceneBuilder. See, it's right here. It's in my Applications folder. I'll click OK. Shows it's an app. I'll hit Apply and OK. All right, great. So now if I right click on it and do Open with SceneBuilder, it opens. So here's the important thing. If it opens, and say it's like this, I open another one just to show you. You see how it says Untitled? If the FXML does not look like this, then there's a problem. You want it to look like this. If whatever your FXML file is, that's the name of this file here, okay? So you want to make sure that's the name of the file. So now we're going to go in here for the first time. You're going to click on Border Pane. And what we need to do is we need to set the size of this. So find Layout, and we want to go to the Preference Width and Height. So I'll just make it 300 by 275. Perfect. So now we have a window. Next thing that we need to do is we need to find a button. Okay. So if you come over to your left here, you have these controls. So click on the control and find button. Click on it and drag it right on down to center. You can make the button as big as you want. So if you drag it out like this, you notice how the size of it changes. So now I have this button here. All right, let's see here. All right, so let's click on Layout. You click on Properties. You can see what we're trying to do here. 1 second. All right, you see where it says Button Text? Let's change that to Submit. So that way we have a Submit. You could change the font. You could change the color of the button. Let's say that we wanted to make it blue. We could make it blue. But we'll just leave it as is for now. All right. So now, make sure you have that button clicked on. Let's go to Code, and let's give it an ID. So let's call it BTN_MSG for button message. So it's important. It's important. If you click off of it, it'll be off there. It's important that we save this every time we do something. So let's go ahead and hit Save. All right, show where it's been saved. Now we're going to come back over to Eclipse and click on Controller. So our controller is going to do some features here. Our controller needs to communicate with stuff and so forth. So the thing that we need to do here is we need to write some code in here. So now we're going to create a class, an action event. So we have this public class. I'm going to scroll over here. I'm going to type in public void. We'll call it press button. And we're going to say this is going to be an action event. And we're going to call it an event for the argument. All right. Down here, we're going to do system.out.println. We're going to say this works. Simple. Oops. Oops. There we go. All right, excellent. So I'm going to save this. So what's going to happen is when we actually get this to work, when we click on the button, it's going to say this works. Okay. All right. So we have that. So now we need to do something else. So we need to go back in Eclipse. Make sure you can see this. And in Eclipse, make sure you can see that. All right. In Eclipse, we need to go to open up this guy right here. So I'm going to minimize this so we can see what the heck's going on here. So we need our FXML to communicate with our controller. So right now we don't have it communicate with the controller at all. So we need to set that controller so that it can communicate with it. So let's see what we need to do here. 1 second. All right. All right, so we have this up here, and this is also going to change here too. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to leave that there, and we're going to space. We're going to do fx:controller equals the name of our thing that we called it. I think we call it simple, right? Simple.controller, and we do a double quotation. So that right there should be good. Let's also change these XMLS FXs because everyone might have a different one, a different version. So what we're going to do is we're going to make them generic. I'm going to take off the 1, and I'm going to take off the version right here because you guys might have version 9. We want to make it as simple as possible. So all we did is we did this and we took that off, and I'm going to save that and close out of that. Close out of that. I don't know what that is. All right, so it was like a memory thing. All right, so we have our controller that's saved. It's important to make sure everything is saved because if it's not saved, things tend to not work. So just real quick, recap, this simple.fxml, we made it our controller, simple.controller. Simple is the name of the package. Controller is underneath it. Make sure that your package is exactly, we have lowercase. Make sure your controller, if you have it lowercase c and it's uppercase C here, it will not work. So ensure that it's all matched up. We have our main Java written, no problem there. And we have our controller, which is our press button. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to go back into our SceneBuilder, and we need to see if, I see that I have a problem here, it's not working. What I need to do is ensure that I can find the controller press button. I need to find it over here, and as you see, it's not showing up. So I missed a step or something somewhere. So let's see what I did. I have button message. All right, so I have it saved. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna X out of it because sometimes it's a little tricky. So I'm gonna right click on it again, open with SceneBuilder, see if something changes and notices it. Operation has failed, please make sure. All right, so something happened there, so close that. You see it says Untitled, I don't want to do that. All right, so I have all these open, so let me close this. I have several of them open over my thing here, so I'm going to quit them all. All right, so let's try this again. Cannot open simple FXML. Show details. All right, so we have a problem here. All right, so I'm still having problems. Apparently there's an issue in SceneBuilder that this happened. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna purge it and start from scratch again. Click OK. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to do a new other. I'm going to click new FXML, hit next, call it simple again, keep my thing to border pane, see what happens. So we have to rebuild it, right click on it, open with SceneBuilder. Should open up fine this time because we're starting from scratch again. It did, so I have to do this over again. There is a problem with the document, so I did see that when I was Googling it. So, all right, let's see here. So layout, height and width. We'll just make it 300 by 275. Perfect. All right, so now we have that. I'm gonna kind of roll through this quickly because I've already did this once. Take the button down here. Make it big again. Code. Change the property to submit. Come down to code. Change this to button underscore message. Alright, nothing's going to be there yet because it doesn't know. Hypothetically save it. Saved it. I'm going to come back and open it again. I'm going to add my controller in here. I'm going to say FX. See FX. Try to remember now. FX controller. Equals. And I'll make it simple. Dot controller. All right. Make sure it's. It has my message ID here. I'm gonna hit save. Controller is, make sure the controller is set up right. I think it should be fine. Java controller, public class controller. We have void. Yeah, that looks good. All right, that's save, main save. All right, simple. Make sure everything is right. All right. So now let's see if this bad boy comes over here. If I click on the button again, I don't have a drop down. Why is my drop down? So something is missing. 1 second. All right, so I played around with this, and what happened is after I redid it, I changed a couple things. Let's see if we can figure it out. So what happens when you're having problems if you do it the second time? I had to wipe out the one that was on here, and then there was a version on here. I wiped that out, and I made sure that my controller is exactly the same. Now when I go over to SceneBuilder and I save it, I click on action. Now it shows press button. So there's a little playing around with this. If this doesn't work the first time, press button is our controller. So I'm gonna hit save. So press button, if I go into controller, that's what I have here, press button. So now I'm again click run and see if it works. All right, no recent launches. If you ever get this, don't worry about it. Right click on the project and I'm gonna go down to run as Java application. And it should run it. All right, cool. So now I hit submit. And let's actually see it working. Let me pull in the library. Where you at, guy? I know it works. Where's my button? Let me minimize this for a second here. Where's my app? It's right here. You'll see this works. If I could find the library, 1 second. All right, so that's it. That's all there is to it. If you can accomplish that, then you'll be fine. So there's a lot of playing around to make this work. But that's it. That's the end of my video. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Just send me a message. Thanks for listening.